I don't know if you guys seen any of the drama with Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, and Candace Owens. They've gotten to a huge debacle. I don't know. It's some drama, it's some tea. I am here for all of it. So first of all, if you didn't know, I'm going to make this really short. Nick Fuentes first went on Candace Owens' show. She did it behind a paywall because apparently he's canceled everywhere. They had this agreement on how they were going to film stuff. She has screenshots. I'm not sure the details of it. I watched it. I thought it was interesting. It had me more intrigued about Nick Fuentes. I don't watch any of his videos, so I started to watch some of his stuff. I actually enjoy him. Don't agree with all the stuff he says, but it's different. And I do find him to be really intelligent. So that's Nick Fuentes. And then they apparently, after the interview some days later, or maybe the next day, he didn't like it. He was arguing with her online. So I thought it was over. Then Candace then proceeds to go on Tucker Carlson's show and do an interview, and Tucker basically goes in on Nick Fuentes, and then Nick Fuentes does this whole episode going in on how Tucker Carlson is really CIA or the FBI. When I don't know, I get them confused, but basically that he works for the government and he's not really, people can't really trust him. So then this leads to Nick Fuentes doing not just a part 1 but a part 2 on Tucker Carlson, and says if Candace wants the heat, she can get it too. Now, I'm an astrologer. I'm not an investigator. I'm not a journalist. I don't do what they do. I do have a podcast, but whatever. The point is, I'm looking at this through an astrologer point of view, and I quickly went over and was like, what is going on? Why do we have this drama? Now, we do have a kite currently in the sky. It has a huge positive aspect to it, but then there's this one negative thing going right down the center, and the backbone of that is Mars. And Mars, if you know anything about Mars, it is very aggressive. It is the god of war, and it's in the sign Libra, and it's opposing Neptune and Saturn in Aries, which is a big doozy. Now, Mars in Libra is all about fighting for justice. It wants to drive for balance. It's very passive aggressive, but it also likes to fight with law. So you did have Candace Owens having some receipts of Nick Fuentes saying that here's some court documents of his testimony. I don't know what's going on. It's something about January 6th. My son had to explain it to me, but it still went over my head. Anyway, Mars is opposing Neptune and Saturn in Aries. This is where the big doozy is, okay? It's all about deception, secrets. This is where we get the CIA. This is where you work for the FBI. This is where you are part of a secret society. Even can take advantage of us trying to get information, and there's illusions. Now there's strength added to it because it's opposing Mars, and then you're fighting for even the underdog. It just brings a huge cloud and a lot of confusion. Now Saturn is sitting there conjunct, and it's also retrograding too in Aries, and this is when you're trying to find, you're in two different directions and you're frustrated at the same time. It's about, Saturn represents the government, it represents restriction, it represents authority, it represents frustrations, lost in the sauce and don't know where to go. And this could be very frustrating because if you agree with Nick Fuentes, you're like, first of all, I thought they were all Republicans, and then they're not Republicans because they no longer believe in Trump, but they believe in MAGA, but Trump is not backing MAGA. Whatever. The whole point is that it's adding some more confusion, and it definitely adds confusion because Saturn is sitting next to that Neptune, and they're both retrograding. Saturn and Neptune retrograding in Aries hides. It brings misinformation. There's blurred lines because it's like, you guys on the same team. Libra also represents a team. So they're supposed to be like left leaning or far right or far left. I don't know which ones are the Bloods and the Crips, but it is what it is. To this FBI and Russia involvement. You work for Russia, Nick Fuentes says about Candace, and then Candace says, well, you work for the FBI, and he says that Tucker Carlson works for the FBI. Also, too, Tucker Carlson said he's some gay boy who's in his basement. Anyway, whatever. We have this air trine, and this would you think would be like positive, but this is where all these podcasters and information and tweets and even Elon Musk got involved. But this is making things very, watching this, you could be very curious about a side that you weren't normally interested in listening to. You tolerate a lot of information, and we can take all the information in really fast, and it could be new information. Now the Uranus in Gemini is giving that new information. It's making it move fast. It helps you become very daring. You're able to make quick decisions. You're able to be informed, and you can move fast, and they can give the information fast, and they can tweet several things. It's a lot of quick debates and rapid information for this whole viral podcast media influencers. Are they influencers? But personalities coming at once and really fast. Now, Pluto is also involved in this air trine, and Pluto is all about investigation, research, secret, revealed, because it's retrograding. You could be obsessed with power, transformation in the media, how we get our information, of how we get the news, power struggles, underground movements also involved with this, and the dismantling of old alliances, because of course they were all Republicans and now they're fighting. Intense news disrupts an old paradigm. And this Uranus and Pluto trine together adds fuel, and it leaks a lot of secrets. Together in this air trine energy is a lot of information. It's very informative and a lot of communication, because air represents communication, intellect, and processing information. Now, if we talk about predictions, right? I looked at Nick Fuentes' chart. He does not have a birth time. We have Jupiter entering Leo. It's going to be touching his Venus. He's going to get bigger than ever. He's going to get more support. Also, he has Mercury retrograding in Leo. Mercury just stopped retrograding yesterday as they were fighting. So he's here for all the conflict. Mercury retrograding in his birth chart means he's comfortable with Mercury's retrograding, and in Leo, he's going to always have imbalance when it comes to confrontation, being on stage, and being very showy with this energy. But he does get bigger next year, even bigger next year. And he has a Mars in Cancer, which also Kendrick Lamar has a Mars in Cancer. They're all about fighting for their homeland, fighting about history. He's really good with fighting when it comes to historical events and anything that's personal and sensitive to him and his people he relates to. So it's fitting for the things that he does. However, with that said, Jupiter is in Cancer now. Is going to be sitting closer to his Mars, and he's going to get worse with the combat, with the fights. Now, as far as Candace Owens, she also does not have a birth time. Looking at different birth times with her, and Mars, I think she has a Mars in Gemini at 29 degrees. I also think another Mercury at 29 degrees, because she's really good at live TV. They all are. Quick banter, and she always wants to go into a debate, because she even challenged Nick Fuentes for a debate. Now, air trine means that it's really hitting her, because if she has a Mars in Gemini, then that means that this air trine is really affecting her chart in a positive way, and she's here for it. She has a Jupiter in Gemini, so Uranus is going to be coming up close to that Jupiter in Gemini, so we could expect some unexpected things in a huge way for her coming up in the future. Let's see what else we have for Candace. And I think she had and also too, Uranus, when Uranus over the years touches her Mars, there's something unexpected that she will have to fight too coming up. I don't have a birth time for her, so that's all I could really pull for now. For Tucker Carlson, is he working for the CIA? That's a whole nother video, because there's a lot of things that seem very sus into his natal chart. He does have a birth time, so I can really get in the nitty gritty. He has Mercury in the 12th house in a sign Gemini. That's very sus for someone who is being, if there's allegations of him working for the FBI. He also has Pluto conjunct Jupiter, is in his 3rd house in a sign Virgo. Virgo does represent work, and he could also be a secret agent in regards to those two things. Now, Uranus Gemini is in his 12th house. That also means that he could be working for the FBI and have high intellectual intelligence and giving information about the FBI or the CIA or whatever he is supposed to work for. Mars currently in the sky is sitting at his Uranus in Libra, and he has a Uranus in Libra at 0 degrees, so he comes off very diplomatic when he's giving it information, or like he's in harmony, and there's harmony. But Mars currently in the sky in Libra, and it's touching his Uranus. So this unexpected fight, I predicted it if I looked at his chart a little bit sooner, and this trine does affect him now, because he has Uranus in Libra. It's opposing this Saturn and Neptune retrograding. So yeah, have some restrictions and a little lost in the sauce. Doesn't look good for him until that clears up a few years. So a lot of people are going to be very suspicious of him, especially when it comes to media and information. So yeah, that's what I have. If you guys enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. I'm doing this clearly after I work out. I haven't even taken a shower. I had to cover up. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, I'm going to do intense reading on all their charts and break it down. And I'll probably do that behind paywall because I need to have kitchen talk when I'm doing this. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.